Good afternoon and welcome to another segment of Lifting Community Spirits. I'm your host, Fred Holley, and I'm the event coordinator at Republic National Distributing Company in New Orleans, Louisiana. And as usual, as far as a newcomer goes, I'd like to explain what Lifting Community Spirits is just about. It's a weekly happy hour where I share cocktails and conversation with a diverse group of New Orleans professionals that are specifically in the hospitality and food service industry. We will be talking about the state of the industry from their perspective, and we'll get their take on their plans on bringing New Orleans to greater culinary and hospitality heights. Today, the segment is being filmed at Pêche Seafood Restaurant, 800 Magazine Street, the home of Ryan Pruitt. In 2014, he was James Beard Award winner for Chef of the South. And in front of us, we have a number of fantastic dishes that he's prepared. His chef de cuisine, Nicole, is going to come explain those to us. Our guest today is the wife of fifth generation Antoine's restaurant, Lisa Gleason Blount. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, Fred.
I wanted to just mention, because a couple points about Antoine's that I know, and I didn't want her to steal all of my thunder. In fact, it is the 180th year of Antoine's, and it is the oldest continuous family restaurant in the United States of America. They've created a number of fantastic dishes like oysters Rockefeller and eggs Sardou or Doux.
Sardou.
Sardou. And I'm going to have you help me out with this one because I know it's the pompano and
Papillote.
Papillote. I just say parchment paper, but Papillote is fantastic. So, without further ado, I'd like to explain our two dishes so we can take these masks off, Lisa. And thank you for joining me for Lifting Community Spirits. Cheers.
Cheers.
Very good. Well, I know that you are sampling the Gentilly Shakedown with Hendrick's Gin, and I'm having a Coco Breeze with Glenlivet single malt scotch and coconut water. It's a brand new item from Glenlivet, and I know that most people think, how can you have scotch in the summer? Well, let me tell you, I think that it is it's a very light drink, and the reason it's delicious and fruity is because it's been aged partially in Caribbean rum barrels. So we'll have those two cocktails, and at the end, as usual, Matt, the bartender here at Pêche, will break these two drinks down step by step for you. So we'd like to have Nicole come in right now and explain the dishes for us very briefly.
Do you want to tell them what's in my drink?
I said Hendrick's.
Oh.
Yeah, Hendrick's. Hello, Nicole. How are you
Nicole.
doing?
Good, how are
This
you?
is Nicole, the chef de cuisine at Pêche Restaurant, and she'd like to just point out each dish for us.
Yeah, so here we have crispy fried okra. We dredge it in a little bit of chickpea flour, so it's completely gluten-free. And it gets a little chili vinegar dipping sauce, very simple and light. Here we have a tuna crudo, which is a changing special every week. Right now we're serving it with a chili coconut dressing, some local cucumbers and crispy fried garlic and cilantro. And then there we have some local shishito peppers. We grill it, lemon juice, extra virgin olive oil, and some sea salt. Very simple. And then we have there a very classic Pêche dish, which is marinated crab paws. It has mint, pickled chilies, chili vinegar, and olive oil, and a little bit of chili flakes. And last but not least is Grand Isle Queen Bess oysters. Those are local oysters from our one of the oyster farmers out in Grand Isle. His name is Jules. He produces the most beautiful, exquisite, briny oysters. So
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I
Beautiful.
can't wait to dig in. Nicole, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yep. So, First question I have is, as usual for a new guest, is always a little brief history of Antoine's restaurant and your background in the wine, spirit, and food industry, Lisa.
Well, right now with Antoine's, as Fred mentioned, I am married to the 5th generation to run the restaurant, and I currently play a lot of different roles. I work with PR and marketing. I also work with some of the menu development. As far as my background, I've been in food and wine for over 30 years. I guess once you get over 30 years, I stopped counting. But I've been on all sides of the business. I've worked in restaurants. I've been on the operations side of restaurants, marketing, and then, of course, my real heart and passion is selling wine. And so I've worked for different suppliers, big and small, and also worked for distributors. So kind of came full circle, came down here and married my husband. And so it's been very exciting. It's been really neat to work with such a historical restaurant, but also to see it evolve. And that's what we're doing. And definitely during COVID, there's going to be some evolvement. So
Right. Well, in understanding the fact that this COVID hit, Rick and yourself, what decision, how did your decision process come about in regards to closing the restaurant and plans about reopening?
You know, I think like most of us, I think COVID happened so quickly. I think that we knew it was happening. We were looking at the news, but I mean, I remember sitting the Friday before, which was the 14th of March, and having lunch with some people and talking about the parties we're doing and how great April and May look and how exciting this year's been with our 180th. And then it was the next Tuesday we closed, and we've been closed ever since. So it I think was, and it was kind of shocking. I have to say, it was like, I walked in there and it was because everything was set. Everything was set for dinner, and we told everybody at noon we're not having dinner tonight. So it was pretty unbelievable.
How's that Hendrick's Gentilly Shakedown?
I really like this. You know,
Terrific.
It's really interesting because I love cucumber, and it has a cucumber, but it's very refreshing. It's great for summer. I really enjoy this. This was the perfect choice for me. It has some citrus to it. It's nummy.
Well, very good, very good. So I know that at
I don't know if that's
Antoine's,
the right term, nummy. It's delicious.
it's okay. It's okay. Any descriptor is apropos here. So I know I've been in Antoine's a ton of times, and I've been through your wine cellar, and I know you have one of the biggest wine cellars in the whole city. With respects to this pandemic, how's the wine cellar holding up, and what are the plans for it?
Well, the wine cellar is holding up. I might be sampling some things during COVID. And actually, it's been kind of fun because we have had things that we maybe wouldn't have ordered beforehand or gone in and tasted, and we have. And so that's been interesting. But, you know, mainly it's all there. I mean, like I said, we closed the door. And so most of our selection is there. I think we've had a couple of theoreticals about what are we going to do with all this wine. We've got over 17,000 bottles right now.
Right.
And what is going to happen, you know, and I think the consumer is really going to tell us that. It's interesting right now on the retail side, wine is up more than it's ever been up. I mean, obviously,
Right.
Alcohol in general, sales are up at the retail level. But we think people are going to still be interested in wine. I don't think we, moving right at the beginning, are going to be purchasing the way we used to, as far as really looking at all the vast, you know, whatever, having 50 Burgundies. I don't think we're going to be as obsessed with stocking all those wines. I think we're going to really look at what the consumer's doing and what they're looking at.
Yeah, certainly I think it'll take time in regards to the whole industry here locally and nationwide coming back at 100%. I mean, it could be 2-3 years, depending that we don't have any other pandemics as such, you know. But I think everyone has to pare down to a certain degree and reduce their inventories. And I know most of the restaurateurs are doing that here in the city. So.
And the other thing we're going to do is right when we do open, which will be probably later in September, we are going to do some wine specials too. You know, we've got a lot of really cool stuff. Right. And I think that we want to run some hot pricing, we'll say it, and have some adventures with it.
Right.
And I think that's going to be really critical. So, and try to lighten it up a little bit too. I think sometimes wine is taken too seriously, and I think that people need to explore it. So, and we hope to do it at an affordable price.
Correct. Well, that's certainly a key. Being in the French Quarter, as you are, how do you see, and I'm sure you go down to the quarter every day to the restaurant, how do you see the whole French Quarter as a whole, and the state of it right now, and how do you see it coming back? Is it in stages, or
I think it will be in stages. I think right now it's ever since they closed the bars, which I don't think was a terrible decision. I remember July 4th, Bourbon Street was full, and there was a lot of people down there. And I think that there wasn't a lot of social distancing, and I think that they realized, that group spread was going to be a big deal. And when they went to the to change it over to no bars, it is kind of a ghost town down there. Right. But I hopefully, the numbers are looking better, and I think that was a big part of it. So I think it will be a phase. I think that people are going to, I think more and more tourists are going to come to town. I think people are eager to move on. And I do. I think the locals are calling me every day. When are you opening? Right. What are you doing? Can we have a party? Can we do this? And I think that's really exciting. So I think the demand is there. It's just really us being smart about how we open, and that we can open for our business in a smart way and have that balance. But right now, I think it's going to be over time. I think people will start coming down to the quarter more. Also, it's really hot right now. Right. No one wants to walk around in this heat. So I think once it cools down a little bit more, I think that there'll be more interest. So, gotcha. And I think the tourists will come back. I really do. I think it's going to start regionally, but I think in the United States, we are one of the greatest cities to come to, not just for our food, but for our ambiance. When I've talked to you about it before, the French Quarter is like, people go, oh, it's like Disneyland. No, it's like a real Disneyland. It is a real neighborhood. It is a real working place. There are real people that live there and that work there, and I think that's what makes it have such a cool soul. Right. So do you see the whole dining experience regionally, and certainly here locally, coming back to a large degree at a certain point in time, and the customer, whether or not the customer is going to come back? I think the customer is going to be very cautious. I think the customer wants to come out and experience the dining that they all love. It's in our culture here in New Orleans to be out and dining and enjoying dining. The joke of you're having lunch and people are talking about what's for dinner, that really is what we do here. Right. So I think that people will be wanting to come out. I think they're going to do it very cautiously. And I think safety, and we've talked about reopening, and we're talking about looking in this restaurant, looking at their safety measures that they're having in place, because we know when that customer does come in that they got to feel safe.
Right.
And so I think that's going to happen. But I'm very optimistic that we are going to continue, to grow with as far as customers coming out. Sadly, I think there is a lot of trouble right now with restaurants that can't pay their rent or can't open up again. And I think that's devastating, and it's very sad for the industry. I think it's hard for our community of workers in the hospitality business, but I think the people that can survive, I think there will be demand. I'm optimistic about that.
Well, I think I've said this the last 3 episodes, the fact that our New Orleans culture of dining and drinking will come back before anyone else does. And
so yeah.
I'm certainly confident in that regard. So I wanted to ask you another subject in regards to your experience with wine, spirits. What do you see trend-wise within the wine industry or the spirit industry and those two industries going forward? I know that champagne is taking a hard hit because it's generally considered a celebratory type of beverage, but there's not many celebrations going on. What do you see the wine and spirit
I think
industry
European
doing?
wine is having a hard time in general because of the whole tariff situation.
Right.
And I think that's kind of sad. 2 years ago, it was really interesting because I do a lot of speaking about wine. And one of the things I really said was what's so exciting, when I started the wine business, there was Napa, there was Bordeaux. you know, and oh my God, can you believe Australia is even making something? Is it drinkable? and now, you know, you can have beautiful wine from all over the world. And, you know, when you talk Cabernet, is it a Cabernet from Chile? Is it from McLaren Vale in Australia? It doesn't just have to be from Bordeaux. It can be from South Africa. And I think there was such a beautiful global spectrum. And I think there was a lot of, you know, trade and movement that people had cellars that were really diverse and could try a lot of things. And I think that now it is going to change a little bit. And I think what we're seeing with retail is people are going out and they're buying their tried and true.
Right.
You know, you look at the very, very popular wines and they are buying them. Also big volume, 3-liter box, which has always been, you know, a good solid, you know, component of the retail business. Now it's up double digits. You know, people are buying it. And I think that's an interesting trend. I don't think that's going to be a trend with on-premise. I did see some sparkling numbers the other day, champagne being down, but other sparkling, and led by Prosecco, I think is still growing. And then my favorite subject about canned wine, and I call an alternative packaging. I mean, who would have thought we would have had a Tetra Pak that we were going around with? Who would have thought you'd have a box of wine? Who would have thought you would have been drinking out of a can? And I think that those, and we call them lifestyle. People are choosing those for certain lifestyle, but they're going all over the place.
Well, certainly for all virtual events that I've been asked to provide wine for, the can makes the most sense. Mm-hmm. So you're not putting glass in a picnic basket or a styrofoam shipper. You're putting a can, which is much more durable. And I can see that business
fits in my purse
growing
really easily, you know.
Right. So, last question I have is because I know that your restaurant is a Mardi Gras crew favorite,
mm-hmm.
and certainly I don't want you to, you know, overstep any bounds, but in regards to the crews and what they're predicting for Mardi Gras 2021, what do you see that situation like?
Well, I'm going to talk about it in two things. First of all, just private dining in general. We are very fortunate at Antoine's to be so big. I never thought I'd say that, but I'm saying it now. You know, we used to say, oh God, we're so big. We have all these rooms to fill and all this stuff. We got to do that. But now people, number one, want some privacy. And we have the flexibility that however this COVID goes, that you know, we can move you to another room if you need more social distancing, or we have a lot of ability to do that. I really think through the rest of this year that there will still be social distancing, there still will be masks, and I think that there are going to be restrictions on how many people can come into a restaurant at a time. Luckily, we have an 1,100 person restaurant, so we can have pretty big events, but it really depends on what the protocols of the city and the state are going to be, and we're abiding by those very strictly. As far as Mardi Gras, it seems like everyone right now is going full speed ahead with Mardi Gras. Terrific. And as far as those parties and things, I know that we've talked a little bit about Christmas and having maybe some more staggered dining during those really busy Christmas days and things like that. But we're gonna work through it, and people that are calling me, I've got all the people calling me and saying, so what's gonna happen in November? What's gonna happen in October? And I have a joke about my magic crystal ball that's not telling me anything. But what we're just trying to be is just really, we just want communication, and we really want these people that are deciding to celebrate, which are a lot of local people, to have a wonderful event, and to come out and dine safely and enjoy our community of restaurants. But we know there will be restrictions, and my prediction is there'll be restrictions coming into Mardi Gras too. I don't know what those will look like, but I think there will be some restrictions still.
Well, certainly we will get through it. We will be positive, and we will keep those spirits lifting for sure. So Lisa, I'd like to thank you very much for joining me.
Yes.
Cheers.
Thanks again.
Yes.
Cheers.
Very good. I'd like to thank Pêche Seafood Restaurant, Donald Link, Steven Spryjewski, and Ryan Pruitt. Thank y'all very much. Now we're going to move over to the bar where Matt is going to break down each drink for you. Cheers, and thank you, Lifting Community Spirits.
My name is Matthew Hunt. We are here at Pêche Seafood Grill, one of the Link Restaurant Group's restaurants. I'm head bartender here. I will be making you first a Coco Breeze with Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve. First, we start with 1 ounce of Glenlivet. Next, there we go. Next, 4 ounces of coconut water. All right. Add that to a shaker. Stir. And we serve chilled on the rocks with 1 lemon twist. And 1 orange twist. There we go. Cheers. Next, we'll be making a Gentilly Shakedown. It is made with Hendrick's gin, little cucumber, lemon juice, ginger, and kava. All right, first we start with the Hendrick's, 3/4 of an ounce, 1/4 ounce lemon juice, 1/4 ounce cucumber, 3/4 ounce ginger rosemary syrup, all right, take that, stir on the rocks. Pour over ice. And then top with your favorite kava. Add a cucumber slice for garnish. And Gentilly Shakedown. Cheers.